Hi, everybody. Welcome to our 2025 Advent celebration. We are so excited to be here. Every day we're going to post out a new video to watch. But if you want to craft along with the exact templates and digital papers that are featured in our crafts for the next 24 days, you can grab our Advent celebration pack. You can find the link in the description below. All right, so let's get on to crafting.
For our snowflake, all you need to do is upload the template. As you see here, you'll notice that the lines in the larger piece here have been changed to score lines. Now, if you have the PNG file, they'll be in red, so you will be able to use this. There's one piece that is not here that you have in your templates, and that, of course, is a blank rectangle that you can use to create your own shapes and not take one of the two shapes we have here for our snowflake. Now, the other thing is you will need your digital paper. There's digital paper provided with this as well, so that you get a really great looking piece. Now, what you're going to need to do is cut out 8 of these pieces. That is the larger rectangle. You'll need to cut out 8 of those, and you will need to cut out 3 of your design. Now, your design should be cut out of a craft board or a cereal box because you're going to be tracing these, and it's really important that you have the ability to trace them. So a heavier craft board is perfect. For this one, you can use a lighter cardstock. It works perfectly fine. 32 pound bond works extremely well, or above. Anything below that tends to crumble. All right, now that you've printing everything out, we're going over to the demo table and I'll show you how to assemble the whole thing. Now, this is one that I have done in the past, so this is the one you're going to end up with here. It's a beautiful shape, and this is exactly what we're going to get. So I'm going to show you how to put this whole thing together, and it is fairly easy. Now, one of the things I probably didn't mention before, you're going to need a piece of string to hang it up. So I just have this roll of string I got from the dollar store. You're going to need some glue. You're going to need, of course, your scraper tool or something that you can burnish the edges. And I use a roller tool for some of those things as well. And of course, you're going to need a pen in order to do the tracing, or a pencil. I have my favorite little pencil here. These are poppy pencils. They're very easy to hold on to because they're squared along the edge. Now, I have put most of these things together already so that we won't have to spend the time looking at these. So first things first, let's get our edges or our rectangles all folded. Now, you're going to have a small edge and a longer edge here. Let me just use this, and I'm just going to go ahead and burnish that one. That is the shorter edge. I'm going to bring this one in, and you'll notice that how it overlaps. That's the important part. You need this to overlap. And then, of course, the one in the middle, I am just going to fold it over. Try to make sure they match at the top here. Try to get as straight as possible. Great, so we have the first one all folded over. What I'm going to do now is I am going to glue this edge over top. So what we're going to do is just get a little bit of the glue in here. All right, what we want to do is glue the edge here and just glue it down. And then the other thing we want to do, we're going to turn this sideways, and we're just going to glue down the middle and hold that together. I'll put that one off to the side. I'm going to do exactly the same thing with this one. Just wanted to do 2 of these so that you could see how we do it. Once sometimes is not quite enough. Let's see, where's our fold here? It's there. Make sure I do get it on the fold line. Just bring it back this way. There, I found it. With a lighter colored piece of paper, sometimes it's more difficult to find those fold lines. but that's why we put them in there in the first place, so we're getting everything pretty symmetric. All right, let's just glue that over top. And one more glue down the edge right to the middle. One more glue. All right, next step in our process, you'll notice I've cut both of these out, but I'm only going to be using this one for this particular project. So the harder part is, of course, just holding this down and tracing it out. Make sure I've got some pencil showing here. Just going to trace these. You may ask why we have 3, because what we're going to do is we're actually going to glue one of these on one of the edges, and that's going to provide us with some stability when we're putting things together. Okay, there's one. There's more, and we'll trace it one more time. And don't worry if you don't get the lines perfectly straight. You can use a pen for this as well. It doesn't really matter because no one's going to see those at all. So let me put that aside. Let's grab our scissors here. We're going to spend some time now just cutting these edges out. And it's fairly quick. All right, we got one more to cut. When you're going to have to use all 8 of these. Now, if you want to cut extra, that's just fine. You'll just have to spend some extra time just going through these and cutting them out. As I mentioned before, this is not the only shape you can use. You can use a shape such as this and you will get a totally different looking snowflake. You can create your own, and that's why we gave you the blank piece, a blank rectangle, so you can make up your own pattern. And do not worry if the pen lines show or the pencil lines show. All right, we have the 2 pieces we need. Just move that out of the way. Just get rid of my scraps here. Now I have the pattern part of the snowflake facing out. All right, next part of the job, we're going to stack these together. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring a glue line down the middle, just like that, and you can put a little bit along the edge. That's just to hold it together. And you're going to stack everything together, try to get it as straight as possible. Go. I had mentioned before that we cut out 3. I use one for my tracing and the other one I use for stability. So I have actually glued on one of the cardboard pieces on the back. So I'm going to do the same with this, but the difference is I'm going to glue it all the way through here. And it's just going to form some stability for what we're going to be doing here, because it's also going to provide us a spot to put the string. All right. Just giving this a second to dry. I'm going to create our string piece. I'm just going to grab, I don't know how tall you want yours, but I'll just grab a length of this. Let's get this down the bottom. Try to get it even. I'm going to stick a little knot part way up. There we go. Now what I need to do now is I need to glue this into place. Now I notice I've got a little bit of this extra little gold thread. I'm just going to cut that off so it doesn't get in the way. I'm just going to provide a fair amount of glue in here. Just going to let that sit in there. I want the knot just above. That's so it doesn't add some extra bulk. Maybe a little more glue down here. All right, we're just going to let that dry. I have this back piece already dry, so I can grab this from one edge, and I'll just grab it from here. What we're going to do is just bring it around. And as you can see, because I have the two larger pieces glued in, it's a lot easier to bring it around to make our beautiful snowflake. Now, what I am going to do here is now I'm going to glue those two pieces together. So what I want to do is down the edge, I may have to let this dry for a little bit, because I also have the string in there. Let me just add some more glue for the string here. That's going to keep everything in place. Now, you don't have to glue this together if you want to take it apart for a later date or a later time. But what I'm doing right now is I'm just gluing those two back pieces together. Now, you may want to use a clip or two to make sure that they stay in place. So I will just grab these. Let's put them into place. Make sure I don't get anything extra here that I don't need. There we go. And let's just take this apart a little bit here. There we go. Same on the other side. Got a couple more clips I can put in here. See the glue released a little bit here, so I'm just going to add some more. Get our string out of the way, maybe. There, and that will tighten up. So here we are. Now you can open these up a little bit. As you can see, some of them are not as opened as wide as others, so you can just play around with just fluffing this up. But this is gorgeous. As I mentioned before, you can come up with your own designs as well. It doesn't have to be exactly this. I want those two pieces out. A little glue came over. Okay, there we go. A little tight there. You may get the odd one that you need to release like that. Other than that, here we are. This is your beautiful, beautiful snowflake. And just let it dry, and then you are ready to hang it up. And they are just gorgeous, especially with this beautiful digital paper.